Hi guys, this is a video kind of like you guys asked and I am hopefully delivering. So you asked for the granola recipe as well as the granola bar recipe from the camping trip that we took a couple weeks ago or last week or whenever it was. Anyway, the camping video. So I am sharing, I actually have two types of granola recipes that I have. One has oats in it and the other one does not have oats in it. But I think that I'm going to put those on a different video because I also have a keto one. So I'll probably do those at another time. I'm just giving you the cheapo depot type of granola recipe. And then after that, it will be, my daughter actually did, I had two separate daughters and they made these and they videoed what they were making for me because I was out in the garden. So this is what we're doing. If you have not been here before, I am Mama Bear to Many. I am mom to 14 children, and 12 of those children and adults still live at home. Yeah, and we are homesteading in Maine and feeding a bunch of people. So let's make those granola bars. So first up is granola, and my daughter, she so nicely put everything that she was putting into the recipe right in there. This type of granola is something that we would use either on top of like yogurt or something like that, but we also would take this granola, depending on what fruit, dry fruit or whatever we do at the end, we could also use this granola as a like cereal base. So for camping, I would take this granola along with almond milk because I have the almond milk like already in the boxes and everyone in our family can have almond milk. So I grab the boxes that I get at Dollar Tree, and we would have this granola with the almond milk like a cereal for breakfast. So the way this recipe works is it's a basic granola recipe. And so we would make the granola up, and then you could add whatever you wanted to later on after the granola itself was added. So if you wanted like a hearty granola that you wanted to put like dried apples or raisins or something like that, you can always add that after it comes out of the oven. And it works better that way rather than trying to add any more like to the mix before you put it into the oven. But you can add anything that you want. You could add the like coconut flakes, whatever you want to do to like boost nutrition or add a little flavor or however you want to do it. Sometimes we want to use up some of the dry goods that we've dried, like blueberries or something like that from the season. We would want to like use that up into this recipe, and that's how we would do it. We would just make the basic granola and then add stuff at the end. So here she's putting it into the two pans. She's already mixed the basic ingredients. She's putting it into the two steamer pans. Those pans are about 15 by 20, I want to say. I forget. They're steamer pans. You can get them off of Amazon, and that is what we use instead of a 9 by 13. It's about two 9 by 13s as far as volume that you can put in there. So we put it in the oven for 30 minutes and then it's come out, and then she's putting the dry fruit and nuts in there at that point. You can put whatever you want in there. Cut up apricots. You know, if something's bigger like a mango or apricot or something, you can always throw that into the food processor, chop it up for a minute, and then throw it into the mix, and you'll just have a wonderful granola, and it can taste different like every time. So it's almost like different types or flavors of cereal. And once you have eaten this for a while, it's actually filling compared to like store-bought cereal is going to be kind of airy. And this isn't. This is like hearty, filling, make it till the next meal type granola. And yeah, we just really, really enjoy it. So you can throw whatever you want in there. You can put seeds in there, nuts in there. Again, dry fruits. She's doing apples there. I think we did apples, raisins, coconut in this one. And that's kind of a favorite. We actually do a lot of dried apples because we can get apples for free. Going off of local trees. We just go and we pick during apple season and then dehydrate those. I do not have a freeze dryer. I just use the dehydrator. I don't know that a freeze dryer would actually be worth the cost. Even though I use my dehydrator a lot, I don't know if it'd be worth the cost. Okay guys, let's make some granola bars. So here we have some oats. We have 10 cups of oats in our extra large bowl. And then to that we're going to add 2 cups of peanut butter. This is a great recipe for taking hiking or taking out, we take these on the road a lot. I put them in the freezer and then I end up cutting them. Well, I put them in the fridge, I end up cutting them, and then I will put them into bags, like Ziploc bags, and then put those bags into the freezer so we always have a stock, so when we're ready to go on a trip, or whether it's a car trip or hiking or camping or anything like that, we can just go ahead and take a bag out, or a couple bags in our case, but we'll take some out and then they'll be ready for our trip and we don't have to buy the prepackaged granola bars. And somebody recently asked me, a lot of people are trying to save money as far as things, and I said, well, don't buy prepackaged snacks. That will help you save a lot of money. And this is a great recipe just to keep on the side so you don't have to buy those prepackaged snacks, right? So adding 2 cups of peanut butter here, and this is going to be high in, the protein because of the peanut butter. So far we have the 10 cups of oats, and we actually have 4 cups of peanut butter. I said 2, but it actually is 4 cups of peanut butter because we double this recipe. And then to that, we're going to add 2.5 cups of honey. I think she's using raw local, but I'm not quite sure. It could be crystallized a little bit. Might happen in our households. We used to actually have bees and have our own honey, which was absolutely lovely, but it's not always possible. Our bees died in the wintertime, and because of that, we do not have our own. I do like to try to buy a 5-gallon thing of honey that I can get from the Natural Living Center, which is in Bangor. They special order in, and it's a local source of honey. Whenever I can do that, I do, but it is, I don't know what it is now. I think last it was like $275 for a 5-gallon bucket. So you have to be prepared to pay that up front. And so, yeah, the 2.5 cups of honey are going right in here. Be careful, it is sticky. You always get sticky with this recipe. It's like peanut butter and honey. Anyway, it's super yummy though. So to that, we're gonna add 2 pinches or 2 teaspoons of salt to that mixture. And then we're going to get, it's actually 3 tablespoons of peanuts. You can chop these ahead of time or you can leave them like this. We kind of have an idea of how much that is in the cup measure, so that's why she's just dumping it in like that. You can choose, if I make it, I usually chop the peanuts real quick, but you don't have to chop the peanuts real quick. It's just like personal preference on things. Yeah, so whatever you want to do, or you could add a little bit of chunky peanut butter instead of regular peanut butter. That would be okay too. You can add, we're adding chocolate chips here, but you can also add dry fruits instead of the chocolate chips. Raisins work really well. Cran raisins work well. I'm trying to think what else we've done before. Dried blueberries work okay. It just really depends on your mood. So then she is going to start mixing and incorporating that all in, and yeah, we mixed with our hands because that's the best tools God gave us. Anyway, so she's just going to mix it all in. It is actually easier to mix this and to feel the texture and consistency using your hands in this. So if you want to use a spoon, you can use a spoon. That's your own discretion, or you could have put it in they could have put it in the Bosch and mixed it in there as well. However you want to do it is fine. They're just mixing it up like this. So the amount of peanuts was 6 tablespoons total. And then the amount of chocolate chips was 1 1/3 cups of the mini chips we used. The bigger chocolate chips tend to be really hard and big when you are going through to eat these. They just seem too big. I mean, you could, if they were cheaper, you could always just zip those up with the peanuts in the food processor for just a minute instead of having to use the mini chips. Sometimes they're more expensive, sometimes I find them on sale. It really just depends on whatever's best and works with you. If you don't have them and you want to whip these up, then it just go ahead. You could throw a chocolate bar in the, break that up if you wanted to. You know, it's really just getting whatever you want in those bars. And chocolate chips are always a favorite for our households. So now that she's mixed that all up, she's just kind of feeling the texture and she's like, it feels like it's not sticking together enough. So in that case, you want to throw a little bit more honey in there. It really just depends on your oats and on your weather, to be honest. But you want it to be able to be thick and able to be pressed into a pan. So if it feels like it's going to be crumbly and not be able to be pressed in a pan, then you probably don't want to do it that way. Most likely, I'm assuming most of the time when I do it, I don't have any issues with any of the measurements. What I'm thinking happened is our honey was crystallized and it made it be a little bit more funky with the measurements, and that's okay. So we're just going to throw some more honey in there and make it work. I wouldn't just automatically just put more honey in there. I would actually use the measure amount of honey and then decide later if you felt like you needed any more honey or peanut butter, and that will just kind of mix it all in together. Then you'll be able to see where it is and how much you need to add, or see how it's now, like when she's mixing it in this video, you can see like all the little pieces coming together instead of like crumbling off. Like you can definitely feel when you're feeling with your hands that it's going to crumble into a ball. Now let's just take those sticky granola bars and put them into the pan. Again, I'm using a bigger pan like this. If you're making a smaller batch, feel free to do that. We find it best to use parchment paper for a couple reasons. One, it helps from sticking, and then two, when you go to cut them, you'll see later, you can just pull the whole parchment out, and then you can cut them a lot easier with a large knife. It just makes it a lot easier. So just lay the parchment out here, and then we are going to scoop it right in there. So you're wanting these to be about 1/4 of an inch thick, and these do not need baking. You are going to take these and you're going to put them into your refrigerator overnight or for a few hours until they've hardened up. Make sure when you're doing that you press them in hard. So now she's just going to pull them. We pulled them out of the fridge and we're just going to cut them up. So as you can see, like I said before, it's on the parchment, so you can just pick up the parchment and take it completely out of the pan and cut them like that. And it makes, see how thick they are there? And it makes a beautiful, beautiful bar, and then we'll bag them up.